VM is used for messaging as a messaging broker between Mule applications. It's simple messaging broker, right? And the 4 operations in the VM component: publish, and sorry, 1 publish, 2 consume, and listener, and 4th one is publish consume. The 4 operations, just you need to know and practice once, that is enough. Okay.
Yeah.
And in last session we discussed about publish and consume, right?
Yeah.
So these are both one-way operations. One-way means if you develop a flow, flow, and you configure a component called publish. So what publish will do is publish will publish a message to the VM queue. Okay, you configure VM queue.
I see.
In the VM queue, there is a queue is there. You can name any name to this. You can give name to this. Okay. So it will publish a message to this queue and move ahead, processing the next message. Next process, sorry, move ahead, and next process will process that message, but it won't expect any response from the VM. Just publish one way and execute the next process. Okay. But in the VM, if you define any queue, if you name any queue, right, VM1 or any queue, in the last example, I given name as a VM1.
Yeah.
It's internally, it has 2 channels. Okay. Every queue has 2 channels. One is a primary channel and second is a replay channel. Okay. So
primary and what's the other one?
Replay channel. Replay queue. It's primary queue and replay queue. Replay queue.
Okay. So each queue has that 2 channels.
Exactly. Each queue has 2 channels. One is for taking the input, and one is the giving the output. Like that. You can remember like that. Okay.
Input, output.
Publish always places in the input. It won't expect any response from the output queue. Just put the message over here and move forward to the next process. Okay. Whereas a consume also, if you configure a consume and if you configure to a queue, take the message from the queue, like you configure a VM1. What happens is it go to the primary channel and take the message and go use to the next process. Right? Okay. So these 2, this is also one way. This is publishing the message to the channel, and this is consuming the message from the channel. That's it. Okay. Whereas the next 2 components, these 2 components, listener and publish, these are 2-way components. It's not
listen.
one.
Okay.
Listener and publish consume. These 2 components are 2-way components. Okay, let me give one small example, and I can show you the any point to be. Okay. See here. I configure a flow. And as part of the processing, I configure a component. This is called VM publish consume. Pub and consume. I'm leaving as pub and consume. This is VM publish consume component. Okay. So what it will do is it will publish a message to the VM queue, to the primary channel. Some people call as a main channel, main queue. Primary channel, it will publish the message. Okay. And it will expect a response from the replay channel. So even if there are few components you configure as part of the flow, the control won't move further until it has response from the replay channel. Okay, it puts a message in the primary channel and waiting for response on the replay channel. It's blocked for some time. Okay, this is one way, and it's waiting for the settlement. And there is one more component, a listener. So far, all the three components we discussed are event processors. What are publish,
consume,
and publish, consume. These three components are event processors. They do processing on that event, right?
Okay.
Whereas the one component in the VM stack that is called listener, that is event source.
Listener,
VM listener. Listener, by definition, what is meant by listener is keep on listening for messages. That guy is called listener. Okay. We have HTTP listener. What HTTP listener will do? HTTP listener keep on
listening to HTTP
messages, right?
Yeah.
We saw HTTP listener in your previous examples.
Yeah.
As part of HTTP listener, we configure one port. Okay, 8081 we configure. Okay. So there is one port in your machine, 8081 in your system. The listener always checking for messages in 8081. Just keep on checking every 1 second, 2 seconds. There is some time configured internally. Okay. Every second is keep on checking. From your postman, if you give localhost 8081,
yeah,
postman will put a message in 8081 port. So your listener will take out that message and process the message, right? So the fundamental is listener is a guy is always checking on a port on a place. Okay. VM also in VM listener will to tell where it has to listen. Okay, I tell that the VM please listen on the VM1 queue. So it's keep on listening for message on the VM1 queue. When it find a message in VM1 queue, it takes a message and it processes that message. After processing finishes, it puts the message back to VM, but it puts in a replay queue, not in the main queue. Okay. Take the message from primary queue, process the message, and after processing, it places the message in the replay queue. Right?
That's the VM listener.
VM listener, yeah.
So it listens where? Where does it listen? It listens in the queue or listens in I don't know. Like I don't know where does it listen at the beginning?
Listener listens on the queue.
Queue.
Primary channel.
Okay. So it checks the primary channels all the time.
All time.
Okay. So your example like HTTP listener.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
This I give an example. HTTP listener always listen on the port you configure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where the VM listener, it listens the main queue of the VM.
Exactly correct. Yeah. Okay.
And the main queue of the VM is not it's something that you have to define first, right?
Yes, yeah. You need to define first.
The system Mulesoft or the studio we have, it doesn't create one by itself, or it doesn't exist unless you create, right? The VM listener. The queue, I mean.
Queue, yeah. Queue, as part of the VM configuration, we need to create a queue first.
Okay, once you create, then you can let VM listener listen to queue.
Exactly, yeah. Correct.
And then it checks every time.
Yeah.
If there's a message in the queue.
Yeah.
And then if you bring it in and inside the flow to process those message,
exactly.
It will then process it and it puts back the answer into the reply queue.
Exactly, correct.
Excellent. Now I understand. Thank you.
Very good. Wonderful. So now, this guy, right? The first guy I told is publish consume component guy. So this guy places the message in the primary queue and waiting for the message on the reply queue, right?
Yeah.
So once the listener finishes and places that message in the reply queue, it picks that message, then it moves further from this component to this component. Okay. So these two should be configured as a as a batch, because if you configure only publish consume and you don't configure listener, means your publish consume will time out.
Yeah. So you have to have VM listener.
Exactly. Okay. So these two have.
Then after that you have a publish consume.
Yeah. So first, you can define any manner. Order is not important, but these two has to define in your application.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because these two are two-way components, because the publish consume is placing the message in the primary queue and expecting the response on the reply queue, right? Until it get response on the reply queue, it won't move further. It's blocked here itself. Okay. Whereas listener is taking the message from the primary queue and after processing, it is replying on the reply queue, right?
Okay. So somebody, another, I don't know, another channel has to pick it up from the replay and do something with the events or the message.
Yeah.
This guy listens, reads the process the message, and puts in the reply, and then either publish consume or consume can go there and pick it up.
Consume can access only the main queue. It takes the message from the main queue only.
I see. Consume only access to the main.
Exactly. That is one difference.
How about the publish?
Publish also places in the main queue.
Okay. So the only other channel that we can use is the public consume.
Exactly. Yeah.
After the VM listener.
Yeah.
Got it.
People has one doubt. Always my student asks the doubt is, see, both consume and listener both are consuming the messages from the VM. Okay. Then what is the difference between consume and listener?
Consume and listener.
Consume also consuming the message from the queue. VM also consuming the message from the queue. Sorry, listener also consuming a message from the queue. Then what is the difference between consuming using consume component and consuming using listen component?
Yeah, I think the way you explained to me was that the consume can only consumes message from the main channel or main queue.
Okay, that's wonderful.
That's it. Where the listener, it can also get the information from listens the main queue, but it puts the message into reply queue.
Yeah, that's true. But in terms of consuming the message, in terms of consuming the message, so the primary difference is for consume. See,
one consumes the queue, right, and the other one listens.
See, let me put the listener over here. This is VM listener. Okay. Just Okay, I'm listener. I'm listening on a queue called the VM1. So here also consuming message from the VM1 queue.
Okay.
And listener also listening messages on the
VM1. Yeah.
So the primary difference is in the behavior they are consuming the message. Okay. So
Okay.
if you observe the consume, if somebody triggers this listener from the postman, it gets the invoked, then it will call consume, then consume will go and pick up the message. Okay.
Okay.
If somebody not call this listener, consume will sit idle. It won't go and pick the message until it gets the invocation.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Then only it go and pick the message. Okay.
So it doesn't listen. It just consumes the message.
Consumes the message. Whereas the listener, nobody need to invoke this one.
Yeah.
Just keep on listening on the queue. Is message,
That's right.
is message there? Is message there? If message available, then it picks the message immediately.
That's right. Do you know the name? Actually, the name says everything, right?
Yes.
One listen is the queue, and the other one consumes the.
Somebody to tell to consume. Hey, consume, go and pick up the message. Then you go and pick the message.
Yeah.
Or else it sit idle.
Yeah, got it.
So that is.
I don't know why we make. It's very simple the way that they define it or instruct it, but somehow I don't know, and we think it's more than we're thinking it's more than what the name says, but it's okay. So you're right. One listens the queue and then does whatever that I need to be done after. And where the consume one, somebody has to tell that to consume the message.
Exactly. Okay. So that is the primary difference between consumer and the listener.
Okay.
Got it. So this is very important. People often confuse replay queue and the main queue. So every queue, the replay queue is idle. Means replay queue. Always people focus on the main queue. Okay, even if you read any kind of stuff in the books, in articles, they won't give the idea about the replay queue actually. How this message, Then for two-way communication, there are two channels. One is the main channel, replay channel. Therefore, only for two-way communication. So that you need to understand clearly that one. Right? Then let me quickly give one example. There are published consume also, and move on to the next topic. Okay. I'm configuring one more listener. Listener, this one I'm giving path as /pub consume, publish and consume. PubCom. And I'm configuring the publish consume component. So this publish consume component.
It's to like consume. It need to be somebody has to tell them to.
Somewhere.
So it requires input, right? So it's waiting some. It's waiting for someone like a listener to ask either publish or consume.
I didn't get you. I'm sorry, Adam.
Yeah, the difference between the public consume and what do you call an input.
Okay.
Like you were saying earlier. Oh, I'm sorry. The difference between listener and public consume. Still, public consume. Somebody has to tell it.
Exactly. Yeah.
To go there, publish it or consume.
Correct.
Where listener and it it listens to queue.
Exactly.
Got it.
Only listener is the only component in the VM stack. It is a event source, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Rest of all the three components are event processors only. Means somebody
All
will
right.
call that one.
That's right. That's right. Event processor.
Event processor only here. When you are configuring the first time the VM component, right? Okay. That time you need to create the queues. Like VM1, VM2 are created queues, first component. Next component onwards, you can use that configuration, or you can create some more queues. That depends upon your requirement.
Yep.
Okay. See, I'm using this configuration called VM config. VM config is a configuration. It already has two queues.
Yeah.
Okay, VM1 and VM2. So if you want to, you can use this configuration to publish and consume. Or you don't want to use this configuration, you want to create a new configuration, that's fine. Then what you can do is, instead of choosing this one, let's add
one. Yeah.
And I'm adding edit inline. I'm adding one more queue, something like queue. I'm giving name as VM2. Okay. See the configuration name as VM config 1. You can give that also, can customize you want. Now I'm publishing to.
You have to give a name.
VM2. Sorry, VM2 or VM1.
Your choice, yeah.
Let me see the configuration now. See, VM config is the one configuration. It has two queues, VM1 and VM2. Okay. And I have one more VM configuration. The name of that is VM config 1, or you want to change the name also. VM config 1 by default comes, and it has the queue called VM2. Right?
Yeah.
So now in your components, when you're publishing or consuming, you can choose using which configuration you're using. You're using VM config or VM config 1. Okay.
I see.
In the publish, I'm using the configuration of VM config. Right? In the consume, I'm using configuration VM config.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to change, I can change the configuration. I can use VM config 1. Okay.
Okay.
So depends upon our requirement, we can choose that one. Okay. What my intention is, your project may have multiple VM configurations. That's my intention.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
Maybe
maybe one that listens, and the other one might be publish and consume, and maybe the other one is publish it again.
Yes. Now the listener also, I'm using the VM config 1, and okay. Now what I'm doing is I'm publishing a message over here, and that message is consumed by your listener, right? And here, what I'm doing is I'm adding some kind of sector component. Some message I'm printing over here.
Okay.
This
message payload
something
get processed.
So We discussed about debug process, right?
Yeah, the process.
The debug process.
In
Debug, how to debug the Mule application, the debug process.
I think we touched it in first couple of sessions where we can put like a marker or some or breakdown, something like that.
Breakpoint, yeah.
Yeah,
that's important. We need to see, we can see all what variables are created, what payload, what are the attributes are there.
Yeah, that's right.
Any point of time you want to check, you can check. If something is going wrong, that's quite useful. The debug is quite useful. What's happening at some point there. Don't worry, anytime while discussing some complex example also, I will show the debug.
Okay.
So now it is deployed. Now I want to use this component and publish something over here. Okay. So I'm going to Postman. And what's the path I have used? I used path called pubcon. And what port I am configured? 8085. Right? So in the Postman, 8085, I'm using pubcon. And I'm posting some message over here and post the body. Some text message I'm posting. Okay. A text message as order 1, 2, 3. I'm passing some random message. Order 1, 2, 3. One sec.
Do you want to do like attributes that payload?
I don't want
listeners.
some simple text message I want.
Okay.
Okay. So I can tell you how dynamically we can capture and that also send as a response. For that we use a different component. Set payload is not supporting that one. Save it. Started. So if I send this order, this order got processed, right?
Yeah. Okay. That's what's in the payload.
How I'm getting that response is so here this consume right. So The pen is not activating for some reason. One second, Adam, please bear with me.
Yeah, sure.
Now you are seeing my AnyPoint Studio, right? As of now.
I see. Yeah, AnyPoint Studio.
Okay. Some reason my pen is not activating. Okay. So this consume component, sorry, this publish component is published component.
Mm-hmm.
What we'll do is this will publish to the queue, right? To the main, right?
Yeah.
Publish the main queue, and this listener will pick up that message from the main queue.
Okay.
Right? And listener processes what is happening is, let me try to capture this one. Okay, so whatever message I post from the postman, right? So here multiple things you need to understand, Adam. So I post HTTP message,
Okay.
and what this listener will do, converts this to mule event message, right? That we discussed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, attributes, payload, and variables, right?
Yeah.
So that is given to the publish consume component, but mule event is given for the publish consume component.
Mule events, yeah.
Right? But publish component, what this publish consume component will do? We configured one queue, right? The queue name is given as
VM1.
Q2. The name of
Okay.
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 It has the primary channel
Mm.
and replay channel. Okay. So right now it has mule event in hand.
Mm.
Publish consume will do is it converts mule event to the VM message.
Yeah.
Okay. So VM message. The VM message structure is standard messaging structure like header and body. Okay.
Header and
Header
body.
And so whatever
Okay.
there in the payload, the content is copied to the body.
Yeah.
Okay. And by in the header default it puts something, but we don't have any control on the header. Whatever we put some headers inside header section, and this is given to the your VMQ primary channel.
The body goes to the primary channel.
Okay. Then what the listener is doing? Listener is always checking messages on the primary channel. Okay, it's basically every few seconds checking for message on the primary channel, right?
Okay.
So once this component puts the message in the primary channel, it picks up that message. It picks up that message and given to this. Now, what is this message? This message is VM message, right?
Yeah.
Because this guy is converted to VM and put the VM message inside. Okay. So the VM listener is capable of understanding the VM message. It understands the VM message.
That's right. That's right.
Right. Then it converts that VM message to the mule
events.
Payload section, payload component. The payload component modifies the payload. Whatever payload, existing payload, it modifies the payload. And what payload it puts is, I just define that payload. So this order got passed. This is the payload. it puts that, it replaces with this message.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next, the logger will not do anything, but anyway, after that, it processing, the same mule event is given back to your VM listener.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what VM listener will do is it converts the response mule event to VM message again, and that VM message put in the reply channel. Okay. So this publish consume component is waiting for response to the reply channel. Once this listener, the listener places the message in the reply channel, pick up that message and send it back to your postman. Therefore, the postman is able to see that message.
Whoa. Okay.
Okay.
So when we got a response back on the what do you call the postman?
Yeah.
It means it went through all of that, and we get the result back from the publish consume channel.
Yeah.
So like, okay, if you could go back to your postman now, and is this how you configure right now? Like this one, the order got processed.
This one.
Popcorn.
Yeah, popcorn I configured right now.
Yeah. So that's the second. That's the listener then.
The listener, HTTP listener, popcorn.
Yeah. Which one is that?
HTTP listener.
The HTTP listener. Okay.
HTTP listener. Therefore, so postman I'm giving as popcorn.
Okay. So then that's the first one, right?
Yeah.
Popcorn. So popcorn then went to the publish consume.
Yeah.
And then it published the message into the VM, right? VM queue.
Correct.
And then the listener sub and the second subflow, and the listener listens the queue, the VM queue one, and then set the payload, and then logged, right?
Yes.
Then after that, the publish consume read the message from the reply queue.
Exactly.
And then publish it in the postman.
Correct.
Wow. It did very quick though. We were not waiting much. It was very fast.
Exactly. Yeah.
So can you for just configuration wise, can you go one more time the tabs, what's configured what?
Okay, sure. See, the first component you configure is listener, right? HTTP listener.
Yeah.
This is to take the message from the postman.
That's right.
Okay.
And you call it popcorn.
This popcorn. The path is popcorn.
Yeah.
The path is popcorn. And
okay.
The port and host are localhost 8085.
Yep.
Okay. So that is configuration of your HTTP listener.
Yeah.
Next, I configure a component called publish consume component.
Okay.
Okay. Here I'm referring the configuration as VM config 1. This is a configuration referring.
Okay.
See that VM config 1. It has one queue. The queue name is
VMQ2.
Okay. Right?
Yeah.
I can refer this configuration.
I know. You had a choice, yeah. But this one we're using VMQ2.
VM2, right? So I'm publish the payload. What payload I'm coming from the client, the same payload I'm putting over here. And
okay.
That
put the message in the VMQ2.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
So
then
VMQ2.
Okay. Yeah.
And see if it is, one more configuration is timeout configuration. Timeout 5 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, what is timeout 5 seconds? Do you any idea, Adam?
So I think, yeah. So let me see if we can understand. So it will connect to the the VMQ2 and puts the message. If there is a problem or something like that, it's gonna time out after 5 seconds.
Yeah. So it puts a message on the main queue.
Yeah.
And waits for the response on the replay queue, right?
Okay.
Okay.
So this one, it doesn't wait much. It's 5 seconds.
5 seconds. Okay. So within
so 5 seconds waiting to the reply.
Reply queue.
Does it get answers in 5 seconds?
Yeah, it's less than 5 seconds, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Because the listener knows that message, and listener, there is much, processing there. The listener only set payload is there, logger is there. It won't take that much time, right?
Okay. But normally you, in real world work situation,
yeah,
you expand that time, right?
Exactly. If your listener has so much configuration, some database lookups and some other configuration, okay, it's processing sometimes. Therefore, we put that much of amount.
Whatever time is good. No, thank you. So now then, and it published that into the VMQ2, and then after that, the listener, the second one, and VM listener, kicks in, right?
Yeah, this one picks that message from the channel.
So this one comes in.
Yeah.
It looks the VMQ2.
Yeah.
And okay, and then grabs the. So this time we don't tell them what the message. Just grab whatever the VMQ2, right?
Whatever.
It doesn't care what kind of message it is. It just grabs whatever the VMQ2 has.
Exactly. In the primary channel.
Yeah, primary channel. Yeah.
Okay.
So it grabs there, and then it creates a new payload.
Yeah.
And the payload, you put it where something got processed.
Correct.
And that it got logged. Then after that, the publish consume gets the response back.
Yeah.
From okay, so whenever we set the payload, and when we set the payload, is that when it sends the message back to the reply channel?
No, just we are modifying the payload over here. It won't send. Just we're changing the payload.
Yeah, you change the payload.
Yeah.
Then what? After that, it wants to log.
Yeah.
You log it.
We are just empty logger, but if you print something, you print it.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So then it went back to the message flow.
Message to reply queue.
And when it comes to message flow, then it puts stuff in the reply channel, reply queue.
Yeah.
And then public consume gets the. So I have a question. Then why don't you put a log or something?
You can put over here. Yeah. Just.
No, I have a question.
Yeah.
So okay. So this is right now. We're not seeing like I want to see what the reply channel has. What replied.
Yeah. That's invisible actually. We can't.
Okay.
The contents of the queues and channels in the VM.
Okay. So what we don't know is that the last message you got where it says that something got processed.
Exactly.
We don't know if that's coming from on the second flow or that's coming from after publish consume. We don't know.
It's from second flow itself, right? We did modifications in the second flow itself. Yeah. You don't know exactly. Yeah. Ideally. Yeah. We can do, but in this case, we do modifying over here for the payload. I'm sending back to reply.
Yeah, so you're right. You set the payload, you logged it, and it's hard to see like from here what information that the reply, what do you call that? The reply and a queue has. I don't know, but Hopefully we'll learn more later, but I think by now I understand the concept.
Very good.
At this point, I just want to understand how the message flows and how the logic works. And later, I think when we have a real-time situations,
yeah,
I think we will see that and things under the hood.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
As of now, I think we're clear about these two one-way, two-way, main channel, replay channel, that thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Try to do some this example. Then you'll get idea about that. Okay.
That's right. Okay.
Okay. Next thing is try to see this always. Any configuration you did on the graphical end. Come to source code and try to see what code got generated in the source code mode. So see how this VM's configuration is happening, how the HTTP configuration got created in the source code. So this understanding is necessary going forward.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you see every component, right? Every component has some unique ID. So doc ID is a unique ID for every component. It's automatically got created. Whenever you configure a component, a unique ID got associated with that component. Okay. Okay, don't worry on that. If you don't understand us, that's fine. As of now. Yeah. So unique ID for each and every component. Listener the unique ID, publish the unique ID, logger the unique ID. What that unique ID is? If you go to configuration, see for this listener, this doc colon ID, right? This is unique ID got generated here. 0.035. This is ID. Okay, this ID identifies this component uniquely. Whereas VM config, this is a unique ID for VM config. VM config 1, this is a unique ID. Okay. So as of now, you didn't understand the significance of this uniqueness. Later, when you configuring the MUnit and the other kind of stuff, then you understand the importance of the unique ID. Just remember that each component has a unique
ID
associated with the component.
Okay.
Okay.
So duck, what is a duck?
Yeah.
Is that duck? What is that? What is a DOC?
The doc ID, yeah. Doc colon ID.
What does it stand for? Like
it's like a document identification number ID.
Yeah, document. Oh, it's document ID.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. And next step I want to discuss is very important one. Two things I need to discuss. Okay. Okay. First I discuss the properties and then I go to the Maven. Let me go to the properties section. See, in your project, right, in real time, right, we have different environments, right? We have the dev environment and we have the QA or test environment, and we have reprod. Some people call it as a UAT. And finally, production. Prod environment.
Dev, QA, or test, right?
Yeah. We have test environment, development environment, and UAT environment. Production.
What's a UAT?
User acceptance test.
User acceptance test.
Okay. So before going production, we will showcase our application to the client.
Yeah.
The client will verify that application. Is the is the application as per his expectations or not? That is user aspect. The user means client over here, the end client. Okay. So if he satisfies, then he moves to the production finally, right? Our goal is we need to move our application to the production so that our customers can use our application, right?
That's right.
Okay. So before that, we won't directly do the deployment to production. We need to do the development, the dev environment. After we get confidence, okay, our application is working good, and we deliver our application to the test environment. So the testing team will do the rigorous testing on our application, right? They do testing and they identify bugs, and we fix the bugs and we push the QA. So the cycle is going on. After some time, our application is stable, QA guys are satisfied, then they give sign off. Okay, this application has very minimal bugs or no bugs. We can move this application to production. They give sign off. Then we deploy to the UAT, and finally we deploy to the production, right? Okay. But here, why I am discussing all this kind of this concept is a Mulesoft. Right? In the Mulesoft, what you need to do is you need to connect different kinds of end systems. For examples, we need to connect to databases, right? So database is source of the data, where the data resides, right? Okay. So do we have only one database for all environments? So we use
we could have a multiple. Yeah.
Right. Production is the database is the live information where your customers are using. This database we can't use for development, right? Okay. So while developing the product, we take some sample small database which less capability, and we develop product based on this database. This is a development database. We don't expect much performance on the production development database, right? Okay. So we use the development database, and after the QA team use the QA database. Okay. QA team has a QA database, and finally we move to the product database, right? Maybe this is running on one IP address like 100.20.1.2. Maybe this is running on 202.6.5.2, and this is running on 168.129.6. Something. Every database is running on different machines.
That's right?
Okay. So when you are configuring your mule application, you are developing the application, and your task is you need to push information to database. You need to insert a record to database. Then develop a component that will insert to database. Which database you configure? If you configure dev database, what happens? It always insert records to dev database, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you do when you are when you are moving your product, your application to QA, you need to change to the QA environment, right? This pointing to the then point to QA environment. Then you're deploying to the production, you again go and change this configuration to point to the production environment, right? Always you do change, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is not recommendable. If you do any change, that has to test again.
Yeah.
Okay? If you do any change in the code, that has to move to test and then only go to production. Before the testing, you should not go to production, because therefore the change is not recommended. A change are not encouraged. Same product, whatever product we develop, that has to go to the QA and that has to go to production. The change is not encouraged. Then how you manage these things? How you manage different kinds of configurations? Adam, are you getting my?
Yeah. Actually, I'm following very well. So So this is the, what do you call that? I don't know if you hear, I think you know this, like a CI/CD thing. And
Yeah.
so like every time you make a change or update the code,
Yeah.
you need to be tested and, get a user acceptance, and then, and, and so you cannot be changing all the time.
Perfect. Excellent. Right.
Yeah.
So for that, how the Mule manages is, this is the application you're developing. For suppose you're developing some customer API application.
Yeah.
Customer API application. We manage something called property files for each environment. So the dev has dev property file. Is in other words, it's called a YAML file. Dev YAML file. And for QA, we manage one more file. It's a QA file, QA1 file. And prod, we manage one more file. It's a prod file. Prod YAML file. So what this file contains? This file contains the configuration related to the dev environment. If we have dev database, what is the host where the dev database is, configured? What is the port number? What username, password, all the stuff related to the dev environment. Dev database configuration, dev file system, all the environment related to the dev. The production, you manage the production database configuration, production IP address, production, port number, all the stuff like a QB. Okay, so you develop the code and you take the configuration from that. You don't hardcode in the code, just you take the configuration from the YAML file. You refer the YAML file and take the configuration. Okay, when you are deploying to the dev, you refer to the dev YAML file. When referring to the production, you refer to production YAML file. But here we won't hardcode any IP address, anything, something like that. Okay, just to refer things from the YAML file, right? So this is a concept. Let me do one simple example, then you understand.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me go to one simple project. We create one project. The project is called something like a given properties demo. Okay, I'm creating a project. And in this project, what I am doing is I'm configuring one simple listener. Okay. As of now, I'm configuring 83. Path has something like so it calling some service. I'm calling some, some service like HTTP request. The other day I shown you, right? That is request. I'm calling some service. The service is like what service should I call? So I call some dummy service I call. Okay. So I call this service.
Wow, there's something like this that exists, yeah?
I'm sorry?
I didn't know there's something like that we can play with online. That's nice.
So this service I call,
Okay.
I can do that. This is dummy. This service is can call
Oh,
from
yeah.
these two services I call. Okay, this takes one. Right. Okay. Let me do one thing now.
Quest.
Configuration. Okay, the host name I give as host name.
It's the base URL.
It's the host name.
That's host name.
And this is the base URI. API is a base URI.
It's way up.
Where is this?
Yeah, I saw it. Just edit that.
Yeah, yeah.
The top, yeah.
Okay. Next, this is the path. Path. Finally, it's got HTTPS 2 times came.
We put it together.
2 times came, so something. This is not required. So then, if you see the configuration, dummy REST API example API/employees. Okay, it's good, right? So now let me run this one and let me check it's working or not. So deployed. So for the postman, I give as 80, 83. I remember that one.
Yeah.
And path got it.
You call it dev.
Dev, right? Yeah. Dev. That is fine.
Okay.
So I'm getting that. Data.
Look at that.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now cool. Now what my requirement is, this is a dev environment. When dev, this will come. When prod. Okay. So I get this. It's not reasonably sounding, but just assume that this is a data coming from the prod. This is coming to the dev. Something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So my main concept is how I'm managing the how we are managing the environments. That is the focus over here. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So now if you observe this file, see, host is 0.0.0.0 host. Port is 83. Right. So host is means it's work only on a local host. If I deploy to this application to that production also, okay,
change.
You are hard coding the host, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I don't want hard code like this. I want to create something like property files. So I'm creating over here. Right click on this folder.
The resources.
New and select file. Okay. I'm giving the name as dev.yaml. I'm creating one more file. Assume I have two environments, dev and production. Okay. Prod.yaml. Okay. So in that dev.yaml, I'm configuring what is my first component. Let me close all this stuff is not no more required. Okay, first I'm creating all the stuff. closing all the stuff now. I'm opening the dev YAML file. I'm opening production YAML file. I'm opening my properties file. Okay. So now this listener is there, right? This listener configuration is different for dev environment and different for production environment.
Right. Yeah, listen is the HTTP.
Listener environment. Okay.
Yeah.
So assume for dev it is 8083 port and for production 8085 port.
Okay.
Okay. So here in the dev YAML file, you know YAML, right? YAML is a way we associate data in a parent-child relationship.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you call a? It's like what do you call that? I forget the word it stands for, but
yeah.
I forget the word the YAML stands for. Like it's like yet another model language. Yeah.
Language. Yeah. Okay. HTTP. Now I want to define child for the HTTP key. For that I need to give one tab.
Yeah.
Okay. HTTP as host. Host is, in my case, is a local host or 0.0.0.0. You can give local host also, that's also fine.
Yeah.
And port. This is the dev YAML file. For dev, I'm assuming
8083.
8083 is a port number, right? And we have a path. A path I give as /dev. Okay. And I'm requesting. I have an HTTP request. Request has host. So this is HTTP request component. Request component, the host of this request component is this one, right? Dummy example. And what it will take next from API path is
One examples.
okay.
Employees. Yeah.
Now I have defined the same thing to my production also. Production I want to make this is HT8085. And the path dev I put the path, right? And production I want to call this service. What service? This service, right? Everything is same, but my path is changed to become my /1. So the production. Okay. Now here instead of hard coding, to specific thing, I want to refer from this property files.
Okay.
Okay. So how I refer is here. Instead of putting 0.0.0.0, I put dollar curly braces. HTTP is a parent dot host. Here dollar curly braces HTTP dot code. Right. And when you configure this listener, see if you see over here, this is like this, right? You configure this listener, the path I'm giving as dollar curly braces http dot path, right? So I'm giving this one. Host means this one, port means 8083, path. Okay. So I configured this from the property files. I'm not hard coding anything over here, right? Likewise, request also I change. Like I don't give hard code over here. Dollar http dot request dot host. See here 3 levels are there. HTTP is the parent, request is child, host is child of the request. Right? How can I know? So HTTP, request, and post. This will be right. And HTTP dot request dot base path. I want to keep this one. Come over here. Here also I can change.
So last one, I'm not sure I follow you.
Which one?
And why you use a request? There is nothing in the request.
This is the request is right. It's child of HTTP. I define like that.
Okay. So you have HTTP. HTTP has those three things.
Yeah.
Request has 1, 2, 3 things.
Exactly.
So under host, HTTP, you grab the host, and HTTP and HTTP request path.
Even you can you can make this as a parent also. HTTP is also a top level parent. That is also fine. Request a top level parent is also fine. Okay. What I meant is I want to make this request child of HTTP.
Yeah. So you can say HTTP dot.
You can say.
So to get to the request,
yeah,
you have to use HTTP.
HTTP dot request.
That's request. Then that what host.
Yeah. Then this will come. Value this will come. Okay. Thank you. HTTP dot request dot post. If you will prefer like that, HTTP dot request dot post. This value will come.
Yeah, I get that one.
Okay. Now, HTTP this API is for right. So we copy this thing. Stuff base path. What's the base path I configured? HTTP. Instead of host, I'm putting a base path. Okay. Finally, over here, copy this stuff. And now I'm doing changes in the source code. That is path. Stuff is path.
Oh, I see. Request that, then whatever that you need.
Yeah. Now see, everything is, nothing hard code is there. Everything you are referring from the property file.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is no environment specific configuration is there. Everything I refer from the property file. Okay. Now,
so even though you have a totally 2 different files.
Yeah.
There's nothing here that shows you where the file path is.
Correct. Okay.
So how does he know where to get the information? Under the property, another resource?
Very, very good question. Excellent question.
Main resource.
Adam, you have very great focus.
Yeah. It's
Now,
this is really fascinating how you this is really amazing thing. One thing at the end of the day, you want to avoid the repetitive task, so I like when things are set up this way, and also I like the specification ramal thing. That too is a great design, and so that you want things to be a dynamic, right? You don't want to hard code anything. So I'm enjoying it, my friend.
now I want to deploy this application to dev environment. That is my goal. Okay.
Yeah.
If I want to deploy to the dev, what I need to tell, you need to pick up from this file, dev YAML file, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So go to global elements, and then we are creating configuration. Create some configuration. Global configuration.
Global configuration.
So, properties. Configuration properties. I will tell which file I need to pick up. So assume I'm pick up to the dev. 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 Okay, see, there is one configuration tag got created. It is referring to the dev.yaml, means it's referring this YAML, and this properties got configured over here. Okay.
Global configuration.
Yes. Global configuration properties. We need to tell which file it has to refer. Okay. So as of now, I'm giving as a dev.yaml so that it looks into dev.yaml.
Yeah.
This configuration, it looks for a HTTP post. This will get configured. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me quickly configure. Let me deploy this once and let me show you. And this one.
So while this one is going on, I have a question. Yeah. And on the global elements.
Yeah.
Or might be configuration XML. Do you like next step configuration XML? Okay. I did see that you put the file and like a line 13. The system put that, but at the top you already you're asking to go like HTTP request that host, that kind of stuff. So does it matter the order that it lay out here?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
All are global only. It is only flow level. This is a flow level. No problem. Yeah. Okay. Right. Now if I test it right, so no listener for endpoint dev. Okay. What endpoint I given request to configuration. Path. Set.
The listener is their port.
Path, right? Gotcha. This slash is not required actually. I forgot to remove the slash.
Yeah, okay.
Now I saved it. Visualizing started. Okay, now if I try again. This is working as usual, right? Okay.
It worked.
Now, if you want to refer to production, then what I need to do is I need to change the dev to prod, right? prod.yaml. I'm saving it. Okay. Now change visualization started. the same app, I just change the property file. If I invoke the URL, I get different results.
Should get a different output.
Right? It's not a deployed, I think.
Will not get any response.
Sorry, it's not there, right? It's prod actually now.
Yeah, it's prod, yeah. Still.
Maybe 85. What is not 83, right?
Yeah.
Production.
Too many requests. For employee 1. You have to add a URI parameter.
URI parameter. Prod. No. Yeah, it's not. That time when the server is busy, so you got this. That's not our issue. Okay. So now, even if you want to change the environment also, I need to go and change the file, right? This is also not good, right? Always I go to, so I'm changing the source code. This is not good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
you want to make a copy?
Yeah.
You want to add another line, or how does it work?
Yeah, exactly. When you configure, right, you need to tell while deployment. Okay, I want to deploy to the production. I want to deploy that parameter. You need to pass externally while deploying. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm not hard coding over here. I'm just giving as a placeholder, like dollar open curly braces. I'm giving just env as my placeholder. Okay. So while deploying, I need to pass this env place. So you want to deploy to production or you want to deploy to dev. This has to pass a runtime. Okay. I'm closing this one. And here run configurations. There's something like arguments is there. Okay. Then I need to pass the argument as -d. To pass anything, I need to give as -e. And what is my variable name is env, right? I configure as env. See over here.
Yeah. Env.
I'm passing as a dev. Okay.
What? Why dev? Why dev?
If you want to give, you can prod. Whatever environment you want to deploy, that thing you give over there. Dev or prod.
But then you're hard coding it.
This one I'm while running, not a hard coding in the in the source code, right?
But you making the environment in dev.
Yeah.
You make it to be in dev.
See, for this thing, right? For env, I'm passing the value over here.
Okay.
Okay. Run it. So it will deploy to the dev. So in the mule application, I'm not doing any change. Mule application is same.
Right? Okay. So okay.
Yeah. Tell me.
So when you right click and go an argument, you were right clicking on the dev YAML, or you right clicking the property project.
The project run configurations.
Yeah.
Project of other projects properties.
Yeah. Then you create the argument.
Yeah.
See, that's the part. That's what I don't understand. Now, the whole purpose of using environment was that you wouldn't have to hard code whether it's dev or prod, right?
Yeah.
But the argument you pass in as a you hard coded is dev.
Here I'm not hard coding that. I'm passing this.
No, here is perfect. Here, you're passing the environment variable, right?
Correct.
But under the configuration, what's the place that want? Like a run project? No, what is the place that you want to create the argument? Yeah, run configuration.
Run configuration. Here you need to select the project. To which project you want to run the configuration. Pass the configuration.
Okay, use that and you click the arguments.
And click on the arguments.
And then you say /dn equal to dev, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So dev last, the value there, DAV.
Yeah.
You're pointing the argument to development, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So if you want to do production, what do? Then do pass to prod.
Yeah. So if I pass to dev, right, what happened to this EN?
Okay. So then what we're saying then when this product is running, so we're saying then, I don't know. So are we saying then this project is only dedicated to run against one environment?
Yes, means
right?
See, the same product, right? You will deploy to different environments.
Yeah.
Dev, prod, and something like that. So
yeah,
here my intention is I want to deploy the application to the dev environment. Okay, so I'm not modifying any code in the application. Just I'm modifying over here. But at the
yeah, I'm with you 100% there.
Yeah.
But the argument you pass in is a dev.
Yeah.
And if we run this application in production, we have to then change the argument to prod.
Correct.
And that to me is also another hard coding stuff that we could avoid, isn't it?
This is not hard coding. This is externally passing the value for this env. This env, right? This env variable. Variable I need to pass value, right? If I pass dev over here, it
will become dev. Yeah. And it'll become broad, it will be broad.
Okay, I need
to. But in argument, but when we pass an argument, we have to tell it, right? We have to tell whether it's dev or prod.
Exactly. So if you pass this argument externally from external side, now if you tomorrow if you configure CI/CD, then we pass this variable from the CI/CD. While running, we will pass this variable value. Okay. From console. Okay. So this thing in my properties demo application, I am not changing anything. I'm not changing any file. If I close the entire all the files, I'm not touching any file in the properties demo. From external end, I'm passing the value for that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now it is deploying to dev. Dev, my port is 8083 and my path is dev. I'll get value for the dev. Okay. Now I'm not changing anything in my in my project. I'm just going to run configuration, and what I'm doing is for this project, properties demo project, dnv env as prod, and I will deploy to the production server. Means something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
This time deploy to production environment. Deployed. Now see production server configuration is 8085.
5 and prod.
Now get value according to that. Right.
All right, cool. Yeah. That's really remarkable. It's really great.
So this concept is like this. We will, the main motto is we should not hard code the host port, and tomorrow we configure database. For database, we need to configure database host, database port. We have different databases like production database and like dev database. Like for dev database configuration, we do the dev YAML file. For production database configuration, we do the production YAML file. Okay?
Wow.
But here, the database component should not contain any specific configuration. Okay, it has generic configuration pointing to these files.
Mhm.
Got it?